Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bash on the Buttons, here for week 2 of WCW nWo Revenge for the Nintendo 64. And last week, we tried to win the television title with old Y2J, Chris Jericho, but we didn't quite meet our goal. So we're going to try it again tonight. Then, of course, if we do it, we're going to move on to the U.S. title, and hopefully by the end of next week, we'll be vying for the World Heavyweight Championship. But in the meantime, hey, I think, is WrestleMania going on right now? Is that next weekend? I believe WrestleMania Night 1's happening right now. Let's see, WrestleMania. It is next weekend. Anyone looking forward to it? I got to say, I've been alive for, well, every WrestleMania. I was a day old for WrestleMania 1. But I've watched all of them now, but for the most part, there's probably one or two I haven't. But as far as watching, live in the moment, watching everything, doesn't seem to be a whole lot of excitement around this one. I mean, you got some things that are good, which is good. But for the most part, I don't know. It just seems off to me. Yeah, and mind you, I'm not watching. This year is the first year. I can't tell you in how long. I didn't even watch the Royal Rumble. Still haven't. Been every bit of 20 years. Close. Just not into it. What do you guys think? Why don't you go ahead and stop in the comments? But it is Saturday night, and you guys were kind enough to spend it with me. So what do you say we make a beverage, an adult beverage, before we start playing video games? I can't believe it's already week 2 of Revenge. So when I started the show, what was the first game we played? It was it Warzone? It might have been. May have been Warzone. No. But now I don't remember. Was it WCW versus the World? It's one of those. One of those games. When I kind of built this show around like these 4 N64 games as like, the hinge point of the whole show. This World Tour, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy. We're already 2/3 of the way after tonight. We'll be 2/3 of the way done with one of them already. Now, of course, nothing says we can't go back and play. We did it with Warzone. Well, I'll just pop in on a random night and play. But as far as a weekly show, by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube at Markout Moments, Darren Steo just comes in on a wrecking ball and just threw me off. So if you go to Markout Moments YouTube, you get this show. You get Talking Wrestling with Pondwater and Miss Amy. You get Drunken Pop, which will be here tomorrow night, doing April of 2002. So get ready for that. That should be fun. We looked at the stories we have at our disposal. There's some doozies. So tune in tomorrow night for April 2002, right here on the Markout Moments Network. And you also have That Boy Was Busy with Pondwater. I mean, we have 11 wrestling shows we do now. More content that you can shake a stick at for free if you just go to youtube.com/Markout Moments. Do I have the do we still have the doohickey? We don't. We do not. But go to YouTube, search Markout Moments, you'll find us. But with all that, I think it's time to cheers and get ready to play some Revenge. So let's get to the game. Yes, I'm back with Chris Jericho. I won't make a definitive statement and say Chris Jericho was my absolute favorite wrestler ever at WCW, but man, he was top 5. Him, DDP, Benoit, and I know that's weird considering all the things that's happened since, but Benoit for sure. Who else? Who would be the other two in my top 5? Maybe Booker T. Who would be number 5? I mean, Scott Hall would be up there. Canyon would be up there. That's tough. Arn would be up there. So number 5 is crowded, as you can see. And I've gone back and I started watching. I found where the WCW content is on YouTube under WCW Vault. And I started watching all the Nitros and pay-per-views. And I believe I just watched what show was that? I'm careening towards Halloween Havoc, so this had to have been War Games. It was when the Giant broke Hogan's neck. And it's so bad. That show is so bad. But knowing that at this point in October of 95, they are 8 months away from just blowing the roof off the business is exciting. And I'm looking forward to watching it develop. Now, unfortunately, I have to watch Hulk Hogan join the dark side, no mustache. John Tenta has half his beard shaved off and half of his head. And there's some bullshit in between. But once we get to the promised land, it's going to be real good. So, Darren, if you're in the comment, Darren leaves a comment here. Never let a man in your cab, in your house, or in your house, or in your heart, unless he's a friend of labor, from Jimmy Hoffa. And what he's referring to is, if you follow me on Facebook, I have been on a spree. As you guys know, if you know me well enough, I'm a member of the United Steelworkers. I work for a union. I work for a steel mill up here in New Carlisle, Indiana. And some of our brothers and sisters in other places like NIPSCO, who runs the power up here, and BP, everyone knows who BP is. Both companies have reported record profits in 2025. In the case of NIPSCO, they've raised our rates by double for most of the people in my area that use NIPSCO. And then they still have the balls to lock out the employees, the union employees, I'll add, and try to blame it on the employees. Which is just tremendous. I don't. So Thursday morning and afternoon, I was on the picket line here in my hometown with the United Steelworkers as we this came up. We think, well, not we. There seems to be some confusion about whether or not people understand the difference between a lockout and a strike. And how I know how to describe everything is sports references. So allow me to explain it like this. Players strike, owners lockout. So if, say, the company was not living to their end of the negotiated contract, and usually it has to be pretty severe, then the workers can strike. And I don't even know a good reason to lock out, but usually there's an impending negotiation deadline coming, and the two sides are not close to an agreement. Therefore, the owners hoping that they get some sort, really what they're hoping for is the next negotiated contract will be more in their favor than the one in place. So if that's indeed what they're trying to influence, they will go on lockout. And they will either hire non-union labor or, I believe in the case of NIPSCO, they hired a bunch of engineers to run the equipment. So remember, if it's a lockout, that's the company literally locking the employees out of the building, the union employees, and a strike is the workers striking against unfair work conditions. Just to clarify that. And I think we're about to tap out over Rick Steiner here. Oh, right dead center. He's not moving. Go ahead and call it. He didn't tap? What are we doing? Oh, and then he just ducked me. What? Penis. That referee needs to count faster. You know? I had him. Right where I wanted him. And it's a little nerve-wracking with NIPSCO and BP going on strike because our contract that I work under ends in September. So we're actually getting headed to our negotiations ourselves, which is a little tenuous, to say the least. But I honestly do not know what either company that's locked their employees out around here are doing. I don't know exactly what they're trying to pull off. I do know that NIPSCO has put on a pretty massive social media campaign here in my town, and it is failing miserably. They're getting shit on pretty much everywhere they turn around. And so, I mean, it's pretty unanimous here in town that NIPSCO needs to pull their head out of their ass and just bring the employees back to work. And but I think in my situation, I'm hoping that the union and the company still has a good enough relationship. They won't lock us out. So, I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. But as an elected official, union official at my mill, I don't see that happening. But again, anything's possible. So this is important too. Right to work. North Carolina, actually, Indiana's one too. And I'm going to I'm going to give a little history lesson on unions from what I remember when I kind of look it up, and then we'll move on to other things for the show here. No need a real life, to cloud our video game show. But I believe in 1964, it was over 20%. I can't remember the number right off the top of my head, but it was over 20% of the workforce in the United States was unionized, with Indiana being one of the leading ones, which is bizarre because, again, we're a right to work state. But because of U.S. Steel, Gary Works, all the steel mills up here, which there's 4, I can think off the top of my head, and I work at one of them. U.S. Steel, Burns Harbor, Indiana Harbor, Gary Works, so on and so forth. But now, as of like 2018, 11, no, it's not, it's less than 10%. Less than 10% of the American workforce is unionized. Why is that? Why does that matter? Because if you have a unionized workforce, for one, you can negotiate your own salary scales. Now, granted, the company has to agree to it, of course, but you get to negotiate your own salary scales. And you get to negotiate your own medical, dental, all that insurance packages. And I mean, essentially, depending on, and I've been real lucky that the union leadership at my mill has been outstanding pretty much since the beginning in 1990 when the mill opened. If you elect good union leadership to negotiate your contracts, which now I am now on the negotiating team, I have some big shoes to fill. Like, you're not going to get everything you want because that's not realistic. But I mean, we got it pretty good. And unionized labor is how you raise minimum wage, or you make, more people on an actual living wage where they can pay their bills and buy groceries and raise their kids and all those other things. And not to mention the higher wages increases the business in the hometown you live in, whether it be at the store or the car dealership or whatever the case may be. And it helps the town out in an offhand way. But unfortunately, the way companies work now, I would love to see union labor make a comeback in the United States. It's possible, but it's a combination of too many states aren't even willing to hear it. A lot of states have actually made it illegal for you to pretty much say the word union in it. But what I mean is organized. And there's a lot of people also that have a very negative view on unions, because I've heard them all. They're a safety net for lazy people, and which isn't true. Again, if you negotiate your own contract and you have good negotiators, there you negotiate ways to get the less than desirable workers out. There's an out. And right to work laws haven't helped either, for sure, as Darren points out in the chat. Let's see if we can beat Hoovy. Not today. Not yet, anyway. See, I'm talking, sitting here talking union labor, and I am just destroying Hoovy. You know, now I stop, and he's kicking my ass. I mean, I did notice the fourth move in this match. I made him bleed. It was a DDT. Oh boy, here it comes. Here comes the comeback. Old Hoovy juice. But I mean, I'm pretty much at the point in my life that if I had, I'm hoping the job I have now is the last one I'll ever have. But if I ever had to get another job, I'm pretty sure I'm at the point now I would only work for another union. I wouldn't go back to just, well, I'll just trust my state government to take care of me. You know what I mean? Especially after NIPSCO and BP, which are union, and they're still getting boinked. All right, let's go back to talking some wrestling, some video games. Hoovy is about to murder me. I need to. That's cool that you got a special. Hope you don't waste it. Darren wants to talk about the crowd. What, Darren, do you want to talk about the crowd? That it's just like 6 people on repeat, that they're paper thin, and a lot of them are wearing Sting mask and nWo shirts. That's interesting. So, Darren, this game, when it came out, so this is actually the second game on Nintendo 64 for WCW here in the year of 1998. The first one was World Tour, came out, I believe, in February 98. This one came out in October, the day after Halloween Havoc 98. So you got Hogan Warrior in one of the worst matches of all time. And then this game comes out the next day. And these World Tour was good. This game, I mean, up the bar real good, real high. We all thought, how does it get better from here? And then over the course of 1999, WWF Attitude comes out, which was the predecessor to Warzone, which we've also played here on this show. Not Attitude, Warzone. And over the course of 99, after Attitude's release and WWF's deal with Acclaim runs out, they get in touch with THQ AKI, who made these games. They get their deal with them, and then you get WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy in 2000 and 2001. So, actually, may have even been 99 and 2000. Now I'm thinking about it. So, WCW doesn't ever recover from this, as we know. They go to EA Sports. They go on to make Mayhem and Backstage Assault, which are widely regarded as 2 of the worst video games ever made. Backstage Assault, very good chance it's the only wrestling game that did not have a ring in it. It was just backstage. And, I mean, those 2 games are absolutely terrible. And then WWE makes WrestleMania 2000. Wait, he can just do the Walls of Jericho as a grapple? What the hell? And no, WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy have these graphics. They add entrance videos and theme music, which this one has neither. And they offer a story mode, which this one doesn't have that. They just have the belts you can win. And once WrestleMania 2000 comes out with that formula, it's over. I'm pretty sure we see a wrestling game, with the exception of Royal Rumble for Dreamcast, with a story mode every year since then. And yeah, so these series of the four N64 games are finally remembered, and again, they completely changed the game, literally, of wrestling video games as we know it. And again, it's just another example of WCW with these video games. Probably didn't think it was important in the grand scheme of things, but to be fair to them, if you read Guy Evans' book, Beyond Nitro, WCW, because the way Turner did its finance record keeping, they never really knew what kind of money they had, and they had to take on debt that wasn't really there, so the rest of the company looked good, all this other stuff. So they probably never really understood how much money these games meant or made. But as we mentioned in the last show, Revenge is the 27th highest selling Nintendo 64 game ever. That seems inconsequential, but it's the highest wrestling game ever. Actually, No Mercy may have it, now I think about it, but it's the only one. And like all of your standard Nintendo characters like Mario and Zelda and Mario Kart and all that, they're all in front of this game. This game sold 1.9 million copies. It made, I think we figured out 1.9 million over $50 per game. It made $100 million, at least gross. And they had fire here with these games. And again, they probably didn't think it was important. They let THQ AKI walk, go to the WWF. They inherit these games, WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. WCW goes to EA Sports, which seems great in principle. And then they proceed to make two of the worst games ever made in Backstage Assault and Mayhem. So just a series of calamities here by WCW. How does he keep getting the specials? Oh, nicely done, old Hoovy. I needed to. Didn't we lose to Hoovy last episode? I think we did. Matthew Elvis Presley's here. What's up, sir? Now, I want to say in the last show we lost to Hoovy with Jericho in our quest for the WCW title. This game is way too good about calling rope breaks. Starting to piss me off, Hoovy. By the way, Matthew Elvis Presley, Drunken Pop will be back tomorrow night. We're doing April 2002 is what we're covering. And there's going to be some doozies on that show. There's some stories to be told in that month and year. Give a Hoovy an old kick. I think it's because I'm trying to pin him a lot, and I think pinning you actually increases your spirit meter, but that time didn't matter. We move on past Hoovy. Yeah, I mean, Darren, if you look at this game with modern eyes, especially if you're, is that Benoit? Oh boy. So if you look at this game now with modern eyes, especially if you're a gamer, you're like, man, this is cheeks. Especially if you didn't like play video games during this era, this looks terrible. But when you're from the era, and you like, so many hours I spent playing this game. I mean, if Revenge put in any sort of a story mode whatsoever in this game, WWF could have just packed it up and never made a game again. We'd still be playing this one. They knocked it out of the park here. But again, WCW fashion, whether or not be they having the right guy in the right department or not having the department at all. But this game does gangbusters, and then it's all right. That's cool. They don't realize how much of an impact it had done. Left-handed know what the right hand's doing, how much money it made, and they let the manufacturer and the distributor go, and the creator, or the production company, I should say, and they move on to the WWF, and they make just gangbusters, and WCW makes toilet water. with their next two games, which I have both of them, and we're going to play them at some point. But I've never actually played Mayhem. I've played Backstage Assault. It's one of those games I rented from the old Family Video here in my hometown. And there's a really good chance I rented it once and that was enough. Like, I never played it again. And there's a chance also I rented it for a week, because I used to get games 3 at a time and rent them for a week, so I didn't have time to play all of them. And then if I liked the game enough, after I returned them to the store, I would then go to the actual store and buy them. But there's a chance I played Mayhem, and I was just like, Backstage Assault, and I was like, okay, that's enough. Mayhem, I have no recollection of it at all, so I probably never even played it. But I do have it now. And I do have a 360 now in my possession, an Xbox 360. So I need to work on getting the WWE games before 2K and then start getting the 2Ks. So we can start going through some of those. I think 2K14 was the first one of the 2K series. And they're still going strong 13 years later. No, I thought I expected a little bit more of a battle here with Benoit, but he's just kind of taking it. That was almost it. To this day, when I go back and I watch Flair's return on Nitro, what was that, September of '98? And then his speech afterwards, the "fire me, I'm already fired" speech. That whole segment still gives me goosebumps. Man, what a time to be a wrestling fan. What a group. Flair, Benoit, Malenko. Was Mongo still there, or he left? Mongo was still there. So Benoit, Malenko, Flair, McMichael, and Arn as the manager. Like, it's in the JJ spot. It's what's really weird is that group, that incarnation of the Horsemen, had a heavyweight champion in the form of Flair. They had a U.S. and a TV champion in the forms of Malenko, Benoit, and Mongo. I believe they had the tag titles at some point, but somehow, even with all that success, because of the nWo, they were never the centerpiece, or they were never really featured all that well. Like, imagine a heel Horseman. That Horseman group is heels, but they never got a chance to because the nWo was there. And so they were baby faces, and they were just fine baby faces. I mean, in some alternate universe, even you could probably make the argument they were heels to everyone except the nWo. Oh shit! I mean, Benoit went on to win the world title, but he won it as a member of Revolution, and I think he left like the next week to go to the WWF. And also, I think I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, but I find it incredibly weird that the only, like, Arn Anderson was never a U.S. champion. Am I the only person that thinks that's weird? He was TV champ like 4 or 5 times. But I always assumed that he was the U.S. champion. He was not. You settle down. Man, there's a lot going on in the chat I need to catch up on. Jim Crockett video game. That would be good. What year? Would you go 86? Would you go 83? Every single human should be doing two things right now: learning how to properly use AI and lobbying for an expanded social net safety net for the people who will be replaced. That's correct. I have pre-ordered my Darren and Arn action figure, Darren. Thank you. 86. All right, so you're going Flair Dusty JCP game. So let's do this. This is fun. I like this. JCP video game 1986. Let's say it's a game that would give you wrestler ratings like they do now. Who are the top 5 rated wrestlers in the game? And we know 2 of them are going to be Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. So who's after that? In 86. Probably Magnum, right? I would think Magnum would be up there. Probably. Oh, I just had Nikita Koloff. Who would be number 5? That's tough. Flair, Dusty, Nikita Koloff, Magnum. Who's your number 5? I have yet to beat anyone with the Lion Tamer, by the way. Let's see, number 5. Terry Funk's in the WWF in 86 in Japan and everywhere else. Steamboat was not there in 86. He was shooting with Jake when Jake actually DDT'd him on the floor. That was 86. So here we go. Would number 5, in fact, not be a person, but be the Rock and Roll Express? That's interesting. I think it would be. I think it would have to be. Jim Cornette has said the only other in 86, because I think the Midnights came in mid to late 86 after their Dallas run. Or I'm sorry, early to mid 86. I can't remember. I don't have the date right off the top of my head. But they said the only person that could sell out an arena not named Flair or Dusty at the time, Magnum was getting there, was the Rock and Roll Express. So now Darren says, because now we have to go to 10. All right, so Flair, Dusty, Magnum, Nikita Koloff, Rock and Roll Express. The Midnights are there in 86. So we'll go Midnight Express. Tommy Rich in 86. I don't know. I mean, he might make it just out of attrition. Luger debuts in 87. Harley's not there anymore in 86. Tully for sure. Yes, good call. I mean, Arn's definitely in an 87. I don't know if he's there yet in 86. I don't know if he's a big enough star. And that's not saying anything negative against Arn. I'm a giant Arn Anderson fan. Who else is there? You got Crusher, Khrushchev, and well, actually, Crusher might still be Mid-South. And Ivan Koloff is there. Who else we got? Where are we at? 8? Flair, Dusty, Magnum, Nikita, Rock and Roll, Midnight. Tully. This be Benoit. Yeah, didn't I say he was there in '86? I said he wasn't a star yet. Like I don't think he was as big as he would become in '86. He just gotten. I said I didn't know if Crusher, Khrushchev, and Ivan were there. I don't remember if they were there in Mid South. Darren, I did not say Arn wasn't there. Roll the tape. There's no tape. Oh shit! Oh boy! Oh boy! Goldberg fighting for the TV title. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? You know what's funny is I'm playing Total Extreme Wrestling 9, which is a wrestling simulator. So I'm playing as Eric Bischoff running WCW, and the year is 1997. I'm in February 97. I'm headed towards Super Brawl. And I'm running the company. So you don't actually wrestle matches, but you book them. So, and you book the cards, you take care of merchandise deals, you do the television broadcasting rights deals, pay-per-view deals. You run the business and you book the shows. You just don't actually wrestle the matches. And, you get popularity points in each region of each country. And depending on where your broadcasting deals are, if you're too small in one area, you can't get a broadcasting deal until local television becomes a thing. I'm sorry, public broadcasting, so on and so forth. But I'm doing WCW 1997. I'm headed towards Super Brawl, and you get wrestlers over based, obviously, how much they win and how good they are in promo segments. So I always have a goal when I start a new stave is I pick 3 people and I say, I'm going to smash these guys over, and star quality takes into it. They get a star quality rating. They get, promo skill ratings, in ring ratings, all that stuff. And right now in February of 97, my 3 biggest stars, or 4 biggest stars, we'll say, I think would be the surprise to no one, would be Hogan in order. Hogan, Savage, the Giant, Sting. Ric Flair is a close 5th. And then the Outsiders and so on and so forth. The 3 guys I'm trying to smash over right now, and I'm pretty successful at it. Well, actually, there's 4. So there's Jericho, who is quickly racing up my card here in 97. Actually, I just had a show where I booked Jimmy Snuka because he lived in the area just to lose to Jericho. So Jericho, Rey Mysterio, I was brain farted. Lord Steven Regal and DDP. I'm smashing those 4 over. But here's the interesting thing. So the popularity goes from 0 to 100. Actually, all the ratings go from 0 to 100, including popularity. Hogan's overall average popularity rating in the United States is a 95. He's probably the highest in the game in the United States. He is 43 or 44 years old now in the game. He has less than 25 days left of his contract because it actually was set to expire in early 97. Was in talks to WWF. All that really happened. But here's the difference between what really happened in 1997 and what I'm doing in my game. I'm not re-signing Hogan. I'm letting him go. How in the world could you let Hulk Hogan go? For one, his matches, especially if he's in with another star, like a Savage, because they're both aging, their bodies are breaking down in the game. So they can't really, Savage can wrestle on television because the crowd still loves him regardless. Hogan can't. Also, Savage is an absolute gem in my locker room. Hogan isn't. So in less than 30 days, I am letting Hogan go. But here's the other interesting part. Hogan legit has creative control of his contract on this game. So more often than not, actually, I'm going to tell you this right now. In every save game or every game save I've done every year, and I've done every year from 83 to 2000 to current day. I have never booked Hulk Hogan in a title match to drop the title, and he agreed to it. Never happened. Ever. It's never happened. So right now, I got Super Brawl coming up. He is my champion. And because he's leaving, I'm booking Randy Savage to win the title and not pin Hogan. So it's going to be a four corners match with Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, the Giant, who's also in the nWo. Savage is not yet, and Diamond Dallas Page. I'm going to have Savage partner up with the Giant in that match and cheat and join the nWo to beat DDP. So I'm not even going to beat Hogan. And I am willing to bet you, even with all those things, I'm going to keep Hogan strong. He's going to leave the company probably within the week after Super Bowl. I bet you he still will not agree to it. So what you end up having to do is do a screwball finish, the old Dusty finish. And then you have to book an angle where like a referee runs out and restarts the match. And then he wins it. For some reason, Hogan's fine with that. And then he'll drop the title that way. But Jericho was pretty much 25 across the board in popularity points when I started the game in the United States. And I've got him pretty much all in the 50s now. Rey Mysterio is all 69s, I think, but he's a 70 in the Southwest. DDP is all 68s. And Regal, who I'm not making this up, I had in a feud with Luger, and then Luger showed up to Nitro messed up, so I sent him to rehab. So now I rushed Regal and DDP to have a quick match at the last pay-per-view to keep the story going and to keep Regal and DDP on TV. And then after this four corners match, I'm going to go into Savage joins the nWo, and we're getting DDP Randy Savage like we really got in 1997. And then after that, it's going to be pretty much all new guys. But yeah, I'm not going to bring Hogan back. I'm not bringing the Outsiders back when their deals expires, but they got like 2 years left. Luger's deal ends in like 45 days, and I'm on the fence about whether or not to bring Luger back. Now, Luger's not an issue in the locker room on the game. He's fine. But he's injured a lot, and he has a lot of addiction traits in the game that are incredibly, like, you can get wrestlers to break addiction habits once in a while in that game, but if they have the like chronic user trait, which, I mean, let's just be fair, Luger did, it's nearly like you can't get Scott Hall to quit drinking in that game. You just can't. So like it becomes an issue of like, is Luger at 38 years old worth the possible headache? Because say you have a wrestler that shows up wasted and you don't send them to rehab or send them home or fire them or fine them or whatever the case is, and then that drug test gets out to the public and you've done nothing, well, now your whole company takes a negative hit. So it's a super fun game. If you've never played it, please, Grey Dog Software, TEW9. It's a phenomenal game. It's so much fun. And there's so many databases you can go online. I said, I've played, there's one, you can go back in 1930 and rebook it with, what's his name? Strangler Lewis. They got one in 1970. There's 1983, 85, 86, 90, 92, 93, 95 through 99, or 95 through 98, 01. All the fun ones. You can do 04. And you can be any person and run any company. Now, here's the thing. The person has to be alive and of age in the time that you picked. So, like, you can't pick 1930 and like, I'm going to be Eric Bischoff and run the Boston booking office. Like, that ain't going to work. He's not on the game. Alex Wright, he was already harder than Goldberg to beat. So what is Matthew's question here? Here we go. Darren says Flair, Dusty, Magnum, Rock and Roll, Midnight. Oh, Road Warrior, solid. Garvin. That's Ron, I'm guessing. Arn, Tully, Nikita. I think it's hard to beat. I think my only critique is where's Barry Windham? Was he there in '86? I guess I should say. I don't know that. Top 5. Oh, Matthew Evans Pesta. He's got the best show topics. Top 5 worst. Top 5 best gimmicks ever. Well, God, worst. There's a laundry list. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say top 5 worst, and I'm not even going to include the occupation gimmicks. I think that's been beaten half to death. There is a time you can put Goldust in both. I think Goldust is easily a top 5 gimmick. And in 98 and 99, he was also a top 5 worst. When he just went over the edge and was doing the Marilyn Manson and the bondage gear to the ring and all that, it was too much. So Goldust would be on both. Let me rephrase that. Goldust and the artist formerly known as Goldust would be on both. Best gimmicks. So let's go Goldust. Mr. Perfect. Razor Ramon. I mean, you don't get a whole lot more gimmicks after like 97. They pretty much run out. Well, except the ones that were terrible, like the ECW Zombie. Let's throw him on there. And I mean, the Wild Samoans might have to get an honorable mention. And also, I don't consider it a gimmick if your like actual name is a part of the name. Man, that 5th one. It's always the last one, you know. We got Goldust, Mr. Perfect, Razor. Man, you almost have to put. Oh wait, I'm just thinking of the WWF. There's other companies. So top 5 worst. I think we'll come back to top 5 best. Top 5 worst. Artist formerly known as Goldust was terrible. I didn't hate Glacier, but what were we doing with Mortis? So I'll do Mortis at 2. Kane. Kane's got to be top 5. Holy shit. Undertaker. What are we doing? There's my 5 right there. Goldust, Mr. Perfect, Razor, Undertaker, Kane. No order. Boom. No notes. Top 5 worst. Artist formerly known as Goldust. Arachnaman. I would. Well, I mean, you could just do the Jim Herd era and get 5. We got Arachnaman, the Ding Dongs. Wasn't there a Leprechaun in WCW in like 95 that was actually Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker? I want to say there was. Actually, I know there was in the Dungeon of Doom. The Dungeon of Doom as a whole, because everyone that encompassed it that was not named Hugh Morris or Conan was awful. The Shark would be a great example, or the Zodiac. Well, except for Kamala. Kamala's solid. I mean, the Giant would probably have to be up there. Won the WCW World Title in his first match. I mean, that's pretty damn good. Then you got like the Maestro and the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea. The Wall. See, I would say top 5 best pretty much locked in. Undertaker, Kane, Goldust, Mr. Perfect, Razor. I don't know how you improve that. Top 5 worst. Artist formerly known as Goldust. Artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea. Man, I'm just beating the shit out of people today. The Dungeon of Doom as a whole. What are phone flags? Oh, the Yeti. But he's Dungeon of Doom. He's in that. Where's Hans Oman? DDP, man. Made me beat all the big guns to the World Television title. Oh, alerts. John Gonzalez. Honorable mention. I think so. We've got a lot of new viewers out there tonight. Good evening, everybody. This is Bash on the Buttons. Welcome. I'm your host, TJ Stevens, where we play old wrestling games from back in the day. We play them 3 weeks at a time. So this is week 2 of WCW nWo Revenge. We talk and relive the moments both from the game that we played when we were kids and also wrestling in the time as a whole, wrestling in general. We started this show off with me educating you on the benefits of union labor. And also, we don't play emulators. We use the real thing. This is my actual Nintendo 64 we're playing with. And with all that, please jump in the chat. Make yourselves known. We're great conversationalists. Right now, we're discussing top 5 best, which I'm pretty sure we got to hammer down, and top 5 worst wrestling gimmicks ever. Top 5 worst, like it's harder than you'd think. Like you think the best would be more difficult, and as we just found out, kind of not. But top 5 worst is like you get to 4 and you're like, well, shit. And now that I can narrow it down to 400 gimmicks, which one's the worst one? I will say DDP before, when he was still a heel, and like the crotch rocket was his theme song, was pretty bad. And he had the cigar and the toothpick and the chains and the rings and the diamond girl and the what was that? What was the name of that ring? The Battle Bowl ring. And yeah, early DDP was. I mean, it's been well documented. Because again, DDP, this era I'm fighting right here. Like I'm all in on DDP in '98. He's my dude for sure. And it's not particularly close, which is odd because again, I was a Macho Man guy growing up, and I love DDP more than Macho Man here. Probably because by this time, Macho Man had joined the nWo and then joined the Wolfpack. And Macho Man was 45 when this game came out and kind of lost his step. And I mean, he did have, I mean, to hell with feud of the year for '97. He had one of the feuds of the decade with DDP in '97. That was some good shit, pal. Why did you tag Corey Ryan Forrester on Twitter? I mean, I would be more than happy to play video games with Corey. I've had the pleasure of meeting Corey in person a few times now. And what a sweetheart of a man that guy is. I did. Well, he's probably doing stand-up right now, homie. I did challenge him one day to play PGA Tour with me on Xbox, and he has not accepted my challenge so far. But by the way, at some point, myself, sounds like Pondwater Dave and Dollar Bill Dave are going to be on here playing PGA Tour golf for a show called Half in the Bag. Get it? Because golf and drinking. And yeah, so I mean, we got that to look forward to. Again, once I have the first step of my NASCAR or my racing simulator, I've got the chair. Once I get the rest of that, I guarantee you're going to see me on here playing racing games for sure. I can't wait for that. So there's a lot of fun stuff. Kind of like how we never use Instagram, Drunken Pop, which, by the way, this is one of the first times in a while this show, I've aired this show on Instagram. It's there right now on Instagram Live at Drunken Pop 1. But when I get my racing game simulator or my racing simulator set up, oh, you're going to see me on here a lot doing that. I can't wait. Like, I've actually not played NASCAR 25 in months just so I can be just that much excited to play that game. That much more excited would be a proper sentence. Are you his manager, Darren? How do you know everything Corey's doing? Let's see if we can beat DDP with the old German. Nope. He said, no, sir. Self high five, but so I would say I got one for you, Matthew Elvis Presley. Who is the biggest missed opportunity in WCW? Because I think Steve Regal's up there, Lord Steven Regal. My chair squeaking a bunch is up there for sure. Bret Hart, obviously. They just did not ever know what to do with Bret Hart. Much lesser scale. Oh, right in the ding ding. On a much lesser scale, I would say Wrath. Because he was starting to get over. And I believe he even got to 35-0. He started his own mini streak during Goldberg's streak, and then Kevin Nash just beat him on an episode of Nitro. Clean in the middle. Mang, I mean, both Faces of Fear. How I believe it's odd that Arn kicking me in the dick. Never won the U.S. title. I find it even more odd. The Faces of Fear never won the tag titles. How Public Enemy won the WCW World Tag titles. The Faces of Fear did not. The American Males won the WCW Tag Team titles. The Faces of Fear did not. I don't understand that one. I mean, could you say Conan was a missed opportunity? I think he could have gone farther than he did. He was, I mean, after all, he was a TV champion. He was U.S. champion. I'm sure he won the tag titles with the Misfits or something. Oh, Bad Gimmicks, the Misfits in action. What a pile of shit that was. God, that was terrible. Horny Rey Mysterio, G.I. Bro, General Huge Erection. You know, Corey Ryan Forster kind of looks like DDP in this game with hair. You know? I just picked that up. Oh boy. Stevie Ray was a TV champion. Oh shit. Was a TV champion, sort of. He was defending Booker T's, which was a good storyline. I liked that. As a matter of fact, I think we went from the Booker T Stevie Ray feud right into the Benoit Best of 7, which was one of the best things WCW ever did. I don't think that's debatable. By the way, over on Instagram, Antonio Santos is here. I think your self high five and DDP's self high five are two different things, Antonio. Actually, I'd be willing to bet it. Oh, we both have specials. He's gonna diamond cut me. I'm just gonna stand up. Yeah, got him. Boom. Into the Lion Tamer. What a series of events that was. Boink. Drunken Pop is here, and they said TJ's a winner. And they said Dave's Faves is the best thing on Drunken Pop, so I'm going to take a wild stab at who that is. Which is a little odd that Drunken Pop on the YouTube account is on here and not the Drunken Pop Instagram, but I might be the only one that has that. How much is it to go to the Masters in Augusta? I was actually stationed in Augusta and didn't go. How much is it to go to the Masters? I have no idea. But I'm assuming they just don't let any schmuck go there. So now we've beaten Hoovy, Goldberg, Jericho. I'm not Jericho, DDP. It's not $7 to go to the Masters. We got Dollar Bill Drunken Dave, MGD Dave. Who'd we start with? Alex Wright. Is this Hanzo Man? Jesus. You got to beat everybody? Also, why did the person that owned this game before me pick Hanzo Man? Not a real person to be the World TV champion. I mean, you could probably make the case that, yeah, Hugh Morris probably should have done more in WCW. I mean, he never had the best name. You know, we went from Hugh Morris to Hugh G. Rection. But, I mean, for being that big, he was pretty solid. $2.50 and a bologna sandwich to get in the Masters. Are you guys going to make me look this up for real? I'm playing a video game. You're supposed to look it up for me. That's how, like, friends and chats work. Dave just sent me a picture. Dave just sent me a picture of him on the show watching me just loaded. Are you drinking a Moscow Mule, you sexy bastard? It's my favorite drink. Yes, test of strength. I mean, you know, we shit on WCW all the time, and rightfully so, but of them not doing more with Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and, you know, Benoit and Malenko and Saturn and Raven and so on and so forth. But same token, like, when you look at their main event scene at this time, like, can you blame them? I don't know if I blame them for that. Now, 99 and going on, 100% I blame them. Because that's where their shot was. But, like, 95 through 98, I don't blame them. Again, you have Hogan, the Outsiders, Randy Savage, Sting, Flair. Who are you bumping? Luger, the Giant. Who are you bumping out of there? I don't know what just happened. Did I just do the line salt in accident? Wow, you guys are real dicks, and you're gonna make me look up how much it actually is to get into the Masters. How much does it cost? Woo! Face value tickets are 125 to 160 per day. However, secondary market prices for the same tickets often range from $1,000 to over $10,000. Holy shit! We thought Ticketmaster was bad. What was that? I didn't want you to drag him. I don't want you to give him rug burn. I want you to do something. Yeah. You guys are. I love that. I mean, we're almost to a record for people watching the show right now. Which, thank you for joining us. And you know, we have a super active chat going on right now, and a legitimate. Like, if I were to ask, like, favorite brand of mayonnaise to go on a sandwich, you know, I could say Miracle Whip, just to troll, because I don't believe that for a minute. But I could say Miracle Whip, and there'd be 9 people in the chat just losing their mind and calling me every name in the book, because I used to live in the South when I was stationed in Mississippi, Georgia, and Virginia, and I know how that shit goes, and Texas. But I asked a legitimate question about how much does it cost to get into the Masters, and they don't say shit. Some friends they are. Looking at you, Darren and Dave. Matthew Elvis Presley. By the way, the correct answer is Hellman's mayonnaise. Is what belongs on a sandwich. The only 2 mayonnaises I buy is Hellman's and Duke's. That's it. If you bring Miracle Whip into my house, you have just given me a missile to throw down my street. That's what I'm going to do. Some poor pedestrian's just going to catch a Miracle Whip to the temple walking their dog. Wow, we beat Dean Malenko with no special. Matthew, I agree with you. Look, this is what I'm talking about. Me and Matthew, look at the corner. We just agreed. Hellman's. And he's still yelling at me for some reason. Nobody eats. You know who eats Miracle Whip? let me steal a line from Dollar Bill Dave since he's here. Horse. That's who he's Miracle Whip. Against Hellman's or Duke's. Because sometimes the store appeal will be out of Hellman's, so I go to Duke's. Saturn. When do I get to fight for the TV title? Is this like pro wrestling for NES? Does that have to beat everybody? Because there's like 64 people on this game. Actually, I don't think that's an exaggeration. I think it's a real number. We're already an hour and 5 minutes in. I haven't lost a single match. And we haven't won the television title yet. Ugh. By the way, before we start this match and I beat Saturn, you should go online and get your copy of Beyond Nitro by Guy Evans. You should do that. It's a wonderful book. Especially if you're a wrestling nerd and are more interested. Like, I'm at the point now in my life as a wrestling fan, I could give two shits what happens behind, like, backstage and, like, who's beefing with you. I could give a shit. Or, like, creative decisions that did or didn't happen. I want to know, like, I'm more interested in, like, television deals and business numbers. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to get involved in the AEW contract because I don't care. I just don't. Because TV, for the most part, as a medium, is dead. So the fact that we put so much emphasis still on television ratings is bizarre. No one cares. No one's watching. Has anyone paid for cable? Like, for a dying medium, they sure have a lot of confidence in themselves to raise some just stupid prices. So, I mean, the real number is streaming numbers. So when those start coming out, I'll care. But television rating numbers, who gives a shit? But, you know, back in the day when I grew up in the WWF and WCW, those television deals, pay-per-view buy rates, gates, attendance records, I'm all day. I'm on board. Sign me up. And this book, if you're like me in that regard, this book, Beyond Nitro by Guy Evans, is fantastic. Back in the day, I hosted one show of Beyond Nitro with Guy. And what a nice guy. Well-researched, very smart, very well-spoken. Big fan of Guy Evans. As an author and as a human being. A guy, so some of you may remember, how long has it been now? 3 years? 2.5 years since I took a sabbatical from what was Filter Free Podcast at the time. Now it's Drunken Pop, because my wife was diagnosed with cancer, thyroid cancer. So I left for a few months until she was on the road to recovery, and then I came back. One of the people that was not Dave or Timmy that called me, or Efren, of course, was Guy Evans. Called me and asked me how my wife was doing. He still does on occasion. Really, really a nice, salt of the earth guy. And you tell Dean Malenko to go piss up a rope. Oh, I got my spirit. Did it. Get him up. Malenko, you're a spaz. Lion tamer. Boink. See, they didn't have alternate finishers yet either. So even if, like, I couldn't do the lion salt right now as a special finisher right now if I wanted to. Does anyone tap out in this game? I have yet to win with my finish in this game. A rope break. How am I supposed to win with Dean Malenko just being a dick? No. Yeah. By the way, these two would they would end up being in Revolution together. And I think they were together after the initial WWF debut. I think they were together for a little bit. Oh, for crying out loud. Of course, Perry Saturn was in the flock, and famed flock member Dean Malenko coming to the rescue. All right. Yeah, go ahead and pin me. Oh shit! Like if I was whooping on Perry Sanders, if I'm gonna lose now, I'm gonna be pissed. Ugh. Somebody get D Malenko out of here. Thank you, Lordy. See if I can get the bridging German. 1, 2. Barf. Okay. Or don't clothesline. Just do whatever you want. Nice. That's hot. Oh, that should have been it, ref. Mark Curtis, you need to get your shit together. That should have been all she wrote. Oh boy. Somehow Saturn's about to get a special, and I've been beating the hell out of him. Oh shit. I'm gonna lose now. No. Stop running. Out of the ring. 5 most legit badasses to grace the ring. Well, Kurt Angle and Brock have to be up there. But of course, then if you're going to be fair and you're going to put Goldberg or Brock, you got to put Jericho because Jericho bitch slapped him once. But Kurt Angle for sure. I've heard. Who was the guy I keep hearing a lot lately? Well, Saturn was one. I think the man was a legit Army Ranger. I wouldn't want to cross paths with Backlund, probably. Koji Kitao tried to go toe-to-toe with John Tenta and quickly learned his lesson. I saw that clip the other day. Uh-oh, here we go. Finally, Hanzo Man, get your ass up here on the TV title. Oh, Haku, of course. Man's eating people's faces. Ken Patera, and who did he go to jail with? Was that Masasa Ito? I think it was. Bob Holly, for all the bad press he gets, apparently was a no-nonsense sumbitch back there. Ron Simmons, I've heard, is just one of the most, you see that guy, don't mess with that guy, guys, ever. Well, there's a famous story. Who told it first? Was it? I think Conrad Thompson told it to Bruce Pritchard. Either Bruce or Bischoff. I can't remember which one it was. Years ago. He's telling the story about the Stein. Well, first, here we go with the combinations thing. I've never seen that before. He was telling it, or it was a Steiner story. And, the Steiners were, borderline performing felonious assaults on people back in the day. And somebody got pranked by the Steiners. And Ron Simmons is back there just getting dressed. It may have been, I'm not saying Flair got pranked, but I think Flair might have been, but I don't remember. Somebody asked the damn question as I mumbled to myself. Ron, how come the Steiners never mess with you? And Ron just said, because I'm unfuckwithable, which is one of my favorite words ever. And yeah, Ron Simmons is up there. Dr. Death Steve Williams would probably be up there. Brawl for All aside. The guy was not prepared for it, and then the poor man worked on a torn hamstring or some shit. Bart Gunn. I've heard Mark Merrow, legit Golden Gloves boxer. Is there anyone obvious we're missing? This guy, I don't like him. Sounds Oman fella. It's enough. It's enough. Piper Roddy Piper seems like the type of guy, like, he's not just going to overwhelm you with like technique or strength. He's just going to, like, he just seems like it'd be impossible to keep him down. You know what I mean? You have to hit him with like a train. Spivey, I've also heard Spivey. I haven't heard Adonis, but I wouldn't shock me either. Listen, to be adorable Adrian Adonis in 1987 and 86, like, yeah, you got to be a bad son of a bitch to pull that off. Not everyone be willing. Regal, we talked about him earlier. Lord Steven Regal was legit badass. Man, gouge your eyes out. I've also heard about Squire David Taylor. I've heard that about Finlay. Most of the European guys are, because they, you know, especially in that generation, they grew up working the carnivals. Like, here we go, this shit again. How is this not cheating? I can't block any of them. And I block a DDT. That's good. Ron Garvin, I've heard, was legit. Also, I think it's time that we as fans, like, wrestlers are never going to change you know, from that era anyway, are never going to change the, what's the word I'm looking for? The messaging of this. Well, I think it's time as we as fans from that era really start having the conversation amongst ourselves that Andre the Giant was kind of a dick. Like, you hear all the stories of Andre doing these wonderful things for the people he cared about, but then you start hearing just the horror stories of shit he'd pulled with like Big John Studd and Randy Savage and Jake, and like, Andre was, if he didn't like, he was kind of a piece of shit. Like, the one sacred rule in wrestling, right, is to not, you know, I'm going to trust you with my body. Don't take advantage of that. And he did it all the time, pulling guys' hair out, just live shotting. Like, he did it constantly. Again, like, I believe if you were in with Andre, the man was probably a sweetheart. But if he hated you because you had the sheer audacity to be 6'8", I mean, God bless you. Like, it really is amazing. Like, all these people from that era will be like, dude, Andre, take care of you. Great guy in the ring, drank 108 beers. And then you hear from like the other side of the coin, and like, Andre's kind of a douche. And listen, at his size and the travel and all the other stuff, if he had fits of anger outside the ring on not a constant basis, fine. I'll give it to him. But you're standing on people's hair and pulling them up by their arms in the ring. You know, you're live shotting Jake Robertson, Macho Man, in the ring. You're beating the dog shit out of Big John Studd to the point he left the territory in the ring. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Andre, in the grand scheme of things, is one of the most important figures ever in the history of wrestling. We wouldn't be where we are today without Andre the Giant. He's also a raging asshole. And and listen, that's fine. I don't know why that is a bad thing. Well, I mean, it's obviously a bad thing for several reasons, but like, I don't know why we can't talk about it. Like, yeah, he was, man, big man, one of the greatest performers of all time. He just reversed my special. You know, best big man ever. Whatever. Both things can be true. No, let's look no further than the old Ultimate Warrior. Questionable life choices at best. But for a couple of years, he was the most over some bitch not named Hulk Hogan. I don't know. I'm just kind of over continuously hearing like Andre's a great guy. Like, dude, it doesn't sound like it. And again, I say that with all knowing, like, if I could go back It's 1985 and meet Andre. Would I? 100% I would. But would I be prepared for Andre to bitch me out and then possibly kill me? Yeah, I would. I don't know why that came into my head, but it did. Andre is, I think, the final character you have to beat in No Mercy for the world title, I think. Well, I know he is, but I can't remember if it's the world title or is it like a storyline mode or something. I don't remember. I beat the shit out of him the entire match. I hit him with a special twice. He pins me once and wins. What a crock of shit. And it's just over. It's just over. That's all you get. What? Oh, Jericho's the Cruiserweight champion. I didn't even catch that before. Look at that outfit. Ugh. Hogan's the world heavyweight. Okay. Goldberg's US. Okay. I think he was when this game came out. No, he was the world champion. Yeah. Like, I know we fixed all these costumes last week. Why is Ray so awful? Also, why is the Giant in the NWO and he's tag team champions of Rey Mysterio? Well, that's his costume. What is that? Oh, you can change all the costumes? You have to, let me rephrase that. You have to change all of them back to default? That's stupid. Also, when did Eddie ever wrestle on a t-shirt? So that's probably not his real pants. It is. Wow. Okay. Oh, piss. How many wrestlers can you name that'd be a better opponent for Hogan at WrestleMania 2 than King Kong Bundy? Well, considering the time frame, Bruiser Brody still would have been alive. And actually, I believe one of the rumors going around that I heard, I can't remember where, it was a podcast, but I don't remember who. One of the rumors was Bruiser Brody was rumored to be one of the guys for Hogan. Of course, it didn't happen. So Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen, but I think Stan Hansen at that time was full-time Japan. 86. Oh, God, I love Ultimo Dragon so much. Speaking of not doing enough with somebody back in the day. Actually, if you look, let's do this. Let me full size myself. Right there, you can't see my arrow because it's not how YouTube works. But we're under my Bud Light sign. As you look into the screen just to the right, that is a legit autographed. It's not ring worn, but it's ring quality Ultimo Dragon mask that he gave me last year for working his table at Square Circle Expo. Could not have been a nicer guy. So 280, WrestleMania 286. So let's go Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen. Flair probably could have. If you would have gave Flair 6 months, Flair could have easily. To this day, I will never believe that Hogan and Flair wouldn't have sold out, or not sold out, but done good business for WrestleMania 7 or 8, WrestleMania 8. I just don't believe it. I don't. Actually, hey, non-Iraqi sympathizer Hero Slaughter could have gone in there in 86. Who else? I mean, it's not a long list. Listen, we can sit here and make all the jokes we want about King Kong Bundy. He is one of the best working big men ever. That's just all there is to it. Especially considering the time frame. Now, that is my list of people that Hogan would fight that he could That is tremendous. That he could sell for, and it wouldn't be that out of the question. Orndorff's a great one. I can't believe we did not get a Hogan Orndorff WrestleMania match. I completely understand why it was Hogan and Piper at 1. I get it. But 2 should, I mean, in all honesty, 2 probably should have been Hogan Orndorff. I'll never understand that one. Buff Bagwell looks constipated. So I think in World Tour he's wearing these pants. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I think in World Tour he's wearing these pants. And he's got his choker collar on. Scott Steiner, the fact that Bischoff's in there is fantastic. I also love that Scott Steiner's wearing sunglasses as part of his permanent attire. I do like they have classic Scott. I like that. It is weird that Hennig's in the nWo and they didn't give him the black and white singlet. I don't get that at all. Why is this green? Ew. Why is that green? What happened? Oh my goodness. Is red and yellow Hogan? Oh, there he is. Found him. That could not be. What is? Okay. All right. I don't know. All right. Red and yellow Hogan. Okay. Don't hate it. But there's no way this is the right. There's no way that's right. Okay. That one I believe. Why are there 2 crow stings? That one's, oh, okay, that one's trench coat. I'm with it. Did Luger wrestle in jeans when he was doing the Wolfpack? How stupid. Yeah, that is absolutely Luger's US gear in WWF. There's no way it's not. Would you get back in the picture? I'm trying to look at you. Okay, Conan. K-Dog. I don't believe that. So this is fun. It's like, pitch, which one of these is fake? That one's real. Okay, wow. Ooh. Reese is 360 pounds my ass. There's no way. Ugh. Why does he have Alex Wright's coat? Oh my god, it's real. That's outstanding. Could you imagine if Goldberg came to the ring in purple trunks? They'd lose their, everyone would lose their mind. Anyway, yeah, back to our previous point when I got sideways by these costumes. Orndorff Hogan definitely should have been a WrestleMania main event. I don't know how it wasn't. That one baffles me. I actually do remember watching Harlem Heat with the purple gear. I do remember that. So that's not hard to believe. See, again, this is great. This was his trunks from In Your House, Beware a Dog, wasn't it? And the Jim Neidhart was one of the same shit since 1988. Why can't I dress up Larry Zbyszko like a commentator? You know. Okay, which title should we go for? I don't want to lose the television title again. It's also great that if if you lose, you're just done. That's good to know. And also, if you quit, you're done. Like if I want to go to bed, they're just like, no. I'm sorry that you suck at life. See, World TV Champion. Who was the TV champion in Halloween Havoc 1998? Was it Jericho? I know it was not Hanzo Man. Halloween Havoc 1998. Let's see. Who defend... Oh, that's the wrong category. Results. Jericho was the television champion. He beat Raven by submission. Oh, that was when Raven submitted, like tapped as soon as he got put in the lion tamer. I like it. Let's try Eddie out. Let's see how Eddie does. It sold out 98. He had a ladder match with 6. Yeah, by the way, speaking of WCW not doing enough with one guy, I know he was hurt a lot of it, of his run WCW. What about 6? Also, like, can you guys that are my age, I was 13 in 98, 14 in 99. The reason why I'm so specific with that, do you guys remember why everyone hated Sean Waltman after about a year after he came back to DX? Because I don't. Like, what did he do to make us all hate him? And I don't mean like, ooh, bad guy. Boo. Like, everyone hated the fact that he was on television. Why? You can't even say he was overpushed. Again, I always assumed Six was an Intercontinental Champion. He never was. He was light heavyweight and tag. So you can't say like they pushed him too much. They didn't. He usually had good matches. He was rarely an issue in the locker room. Why did we hate Sean Waltman so much? I don't understand. Like, it's one of those things. Like, it's, X-Pac heat is a term we all use in wrestling. But why? Like, why did we hate Sean Waltman so much? I don't get it. And again, I've met Sean Waltman. I worked his table last year at Sports Local Expo. Cannot be a nicer guy. Man, does he care about how he treats the fans. He kept asking me and Timmy, am I spending enough time or too much time with the fans? Dude, you're X-Pac. Spend as much time as you want. And I go, I guarantee you, everyone that's staying in line for a while, and they get up to the front and they get to have a conversation with Sean Waltman, they'll get over it. And they did. Didn't have a single person complain the entire day. Very nice guy. Pump handle slam. The bow. So I'm wondering, A, when did Eddie come back from his car accident? And B, when he first came back, I wonder if he was self-conscious because he wasn't in as good a shape as he would have liked, and he wrestled in a shirt. I don't remember that, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know that it didn't happen. I don't know that. But it is odd that Eddie's primary outfit on this game is him in a t-shirt. So I need to find that t-shirt. Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler. That's a phenomenal t-shirt. And it says cheat to win. Again, like if and I again, it's read Guy Evans' book Nitro about how just disjointed everything outside of the in-ring product WCW was, so merchandising, all the other stuff, like we talked about earlier. WCW fell backwards into some really solid t-shirts. Back, like this is one of them, and the Monday Night Jerichoholic shirt. As much as I hate to say it, Raven probably should have his own shirt. as opposed to wearing grunge band shirts, because then we could have bought a Raven shirt. DDP's shirt, which I have an updated version of it, but I don't have the DDP shirt from back then. I do have a Goldberg shirt from back then. But there were so many good shirts they had from back then, and they just... When was the last time you saw anyone wearing an Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler shirt? Let me answer that for you. Never is the answer to that question. I know they sold them, but man, I wish I could have. Dollar Bill Dave went to, there was a show, a pay-per-view in like 2000 where WCW went to Quad Cities, Illinois. I cannot remember which one it was, and he was there. Mike Kolb, longtime friend of the show, was at Spring Stampede 2000, I think it was in Chicago. It was when Mancow was on. He was there. And I would love to know what their merchandising at the arena was like. Because we all know now, and this was the case when I went to WrestleMania 19 even, you can't walk from your seat to the bathroom to the vending area without tripping over 4 merchandise stands. Not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying. But if WCW was like, the only way I could think of, because again, they advertised the shirts on the show. You had to call the number to order the shirts. There's no way that we'd never see an Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler shirt if they sold them at the arenas. But I don't know that they did. I wonder what their merchandising situation was like at arenas. And here's a question I've had also. Why don't wrestling companies, and I don't remember if AEW did or not, and I've been to, I mean, if you've listened to the show, you probably don't think this. I've been to 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 AEW shows in my life. So I don't remember if they did this or not. But why don't wrestling companies sell their wrestling video games at the arena? Like, is there a specific licensing agreement with the designers? I don't know. So this is the stuff that I'm curious about now in my old age. Or like, why don't they sell? I'm sure they used to sell old DVDs, but DVDs kind of passe now. But like, what? Yeah, why don't you sell, the video games at the arenas? I've never seen it. They do. I know WWE doesn't. Or even if they're like, hey, if you come, if you come and buy our, $500 replica belt or higher, that's actually on the low end, we'll throw in a copy of WWE 2K26. If you buy, what's the most expensive one now? $1,100. If you buy the ring usable replica, for $1,100, we'll give you WWE 2K26 and every unlockable ever that we're going to produce. I don't know. I've never understood. But again, there might be a merchandising reason why they can't sell their video games at the shows. I'm not aware of it. And all this because I've never seen anyone wear this Eddie Guerrero shirt. Can I beat La Parka? 1, 2, 3. Good night. Tombstone Pile Driver is all she wrote. I wonder if I can do. Do you think his finisher is the flop splash, the frog splash? Top 5 arcade games. Centipede. It's the first one that came to my head. Centipede. Dig Dug. Pac-Man, I guess. Pac-Man is probably the most iconic video game or arcade game, right? Centipede, Dig Dug, Pac-Man, Asteroid. And a more modern one, House of the Dead. You can't go to an arcade and not see House of the Dead. And here's another fun fact. So this game if he'll let me grapple him, I can body slam, power bomb, pump handle slam Reese all day and all night. I believe No Mercy. It may be WrestleMania 2000. I don't remember. One of those two games. Say I'm Eddie Guerrero in that game, and I tried to body slam the Big Show. Unless I have, like, my spirit meter is almost full, and I mash the shit out of the button while he's trying to body slam him, you will not body slam him. You will fail. It's another interesting tweak they've made between this game and that game. Darren, stay away. Had a really good viewership here tonight. I want to thank everybody. Probably do one or two matches after this one and be done for the night. Of course, we do this show every Friday night normally, but again, old TJ works rotating shift work, so I'm on afternoons this week, which means I worked last night. Didn't go home until almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So next week, I start midnights, but we'll be here next Friday night. But instead of 9 p.m. Eastern, we'll be here at 8 p.m. Eastern for our final week of Revenge. Otherwise, we'll only get to play an hour. And then, because of how you guys voted in the poll, the game after this one will be In Your House for Sega Saturn is the next game. And I've never played that game or a Sega Saturn, so I'm excited for both. And that will be not next week, but the week after. Oh, top rope. Who's your mama? I was really hoping that was going to be it. Oh, so I need, well, I said Centipede, Asteroid, Pac-Man, House of the Dead. Was that 5? Centipede. I mean, Missile Commander would be up there. Oh, you know what? Actually, one of my favorites from when I was a kid, Cruising USA, Brother. Solid. What was the Toyota off-road 4x4 game from like 1991? When the Toyota off-road Baja truck was the only one anyone recognized. Top 5 most disappointing games ever, as in ones I couldn't wait to come out and they sucked. Resident Evils 4 and 5. I know a lot of people like those games. I hated them. And here's the thing. As a standalone, they're fine video games as a standalone. But I'm a giant Resident Evil nerd, whatever you want to call it. And know all the characters, know the story, no locations, no years the games came out. 1, 2, and 3 of Resident Evil are, even when they came out, masterpieces. No notes, as the kids say. You know, everything about it. The creatures they made, the location of Raccoon City, even though, like, if a town's road and alleyway was really mapped this way, there would just be vehicular homicides every 40 seconds. But regardless, you're not driving a car, you're walking, so you don't notice it right away. But the characters, the way the stories are built, masterpiece, especially at the time. And then 4 comes out. And the whole point of these games up until 4 and 5 was the effect of the T-virus on Raccoon City. Now, as we would find out as the games went on, there would be, well, actually, if I'm going to say 4 and 5, I got to throw 6 in there too. As the games went on, we would find out it affected other places. But for the sake of conversation, it was 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6. Now you get into infestations and possessions, and we're not in Raccoon City anymore. And to me, it just lost the plot. To me, they became shooter games, action games, and not, horror puzzle games. Which, I mean, Resident Evil had the market cornered on that, because Silent Hill, as good as those games were, they weren't as brainy, and I don't mean that as an insult, as Resident Evil. Silent Hill wasn't trying to be that. Silent Hill was, so Resident Evil, I would say, was almost half and half horror and puzzle, right? 50-50. Silent Hill went 70-30 horror to puzzle. And it was great. Silent Hill was awesome. But 4, 5, and 6, they kind of just skipped that part, and it was went to a shoot 'em up game, which is fine if you're into that kind of thing. And I even throw Resident Evil Code Veronica. I love Resident Evil Code Veronica. Might still be my favorite Resident Evil ever. And I'm probably the only one that's going to say that. But 4, 5, and 6 lost the plot. Village was outstanding. That's the origin story of the T-virus. 8 was the gameplay of 8 is good. The puzzles are good. There's some pretty outlandish shit in that game, which is fine. You can dive out there once in a while. So I didn't hate it, but the ending is terrible. The ending, I've never beat a game and sat there more confused than when I beat Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil Requiem, when that just came out, to me is the first game. Again, 7 is the origin story of the T-virus. 8, I don't even know what 8 was. I just them bored. Like, I'm not sure. 9 was the first time they kind of got back to their roots. Like, to the point you actually, I'm not trying to give spoilers out, but in Requiem, you actually do go back to the Raccoon City Police Department. And, you see all the old cutscenes from the PS1, which just made my spine tingles phenomenal. Other than there's a really stupid dirt bike chase scene for no reason in the middle of the game. Other than that, they crush it. You even had to fight Hunk in one of the scenes. So, I mean, it's 9. Requiem was good. I enjoyed it a lot. So 3 of my top 5 is going to be Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. What after that? I need 2 more. So, See, unfortunately, like, if I'm loyal, as long as you do a half-ass attempt to stick to the storyline, like, I'll suffer through some bullshit, and still enjoy the game. I just won't remember it, which is why I'm having such a hard time right now. Oh, that's hot. That's got to be it, folks. That's it. That's for 4, 5, and 6 Resident Evil. What's my other 2? Which Need for Speed when only online? Because that would be number 4. Need for Speed, again, when I was Most Wanted and all those, nailed it. And like, hey, what if we made one that was only online? Wouldn't that be fun? No, it's not. Again, if I could get a game, much like Resident Evil just did, if I could get a game, good gameplay, control scheme that makes sense, good story, and no online mode, if you can give me 8 to 10 hours or longer of a solid, just single player story mode, I don't need online. I'm old. You know what happens when I go play Call of Duty online? I get murdered by a bunch of kids calling me a bunch of words I don't know. I'm officially the old man, and I'm okay with that. Just give me good stories. I just want to watch my stories, you know? So Resident Evil's 4, 5, and 6, whatever Call of Duty they went all online. What's number 5? Hmm. See, that's tough. Excuse me. Oh, you can't break the rope with the back of his head. How stupid. Nice. Nice. I will tell you one of my favorite games ever, South Park, the video game for Nintendo 64, which I actually have it now. Oh, game's fantastic. It had no right being that good. You know? I don't know why that popped in my head, but now, but it did. I would say all of the GoldenEye games that came out after, or I'm sorry, all the 007 games that came out after GoldenEye. And I'm also going to say this, it's not their fault. Again, much like WCW did here with World Tour and Revenge, they hit a gold mine with GoldenEye, and they couldn't have possibly like backed it up. But again, they went from who did theirs? It was Rareware and somebody else did 007, and then they went to EA, and they sucked pretty much from then on out. Now there's a new one coming out that looks pretty good, and I'm gonna play it and try it. It's supposed to be, as opposed to you being this polished 007 agent with all this gear and bullshit, it's you trying to earn your badge, so to speak, to become a 007 agent. So I'm excited for that to come out. So okay, we'll go Resident Evil's 4, 5, and 6. Whatever Call of Duty, whatever. Well, actually, Call of Duty, the Mexo suit also pissed me off. But whatever Need for Speed went all online. And then, what were we just talking about? Oh, any GoldenEye or any 007 game after GoldenEye. There you go. There's my 5. That was way too hard. I loved playing Medieval for PS1 when I was a kid. And I know they came out with Medieval 2. I don't remember it. I know I played it. I don't remember it. I have no idea if that was good or not. Good conversations tonight. Again, good viewership. I'm very happy with tonight. Very happy how this ended up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight as I play as Eddie Guerrero and embarrass myself trying to beat Barry Saturn and talk about why my day as a gamer was better than current. You know, let me tell you why the 90s were better at everything, because that's when I grew up. And it's true. Pretty much across the board. And like, you wonder, like, we might be, my generation, again, if you're new to the show, I was born in 85. My generation might be the first generation that legitimately say my generation was better because we didn't have social media. It wasn't a thing. We got it. We were the first generation to get it with MSN Messenger and ICQ and AOL Messenger, all that shit. But like, for the most part, like, all that came out when we were in middle school. So like, we were pretty much already well on our way to being socially developed at that point. And you know, it wasn't life or death like it is now. And we got, you know, MSN Instant Messenger, AOL, and ICQ. And then like 2 years later, cell phones became normal. So we didn't have a lot of time in between too. So we went right from like, isn't social media kind of fun, to texting. Oh, he wasted my finisher. What a dick. And actually, Nextel, when cell phones first became a thing, mine was Nextel phone. that when you unfolded it was about this long. And to text, you had to press the number button 3 or 4 times to get the right number or the right letter. And it also had the Nextel chirp. All you old heads out there know what I'm talking about. The Nextel chirp. All cell phones that were Nextel acted like a walkie-talkie if you had the button on the side. Which was incredibly useful, but more often than not, was annoying. When I was in the Air Force, my dad would just chirp me every day at 7 a.m. What are you doing, son? I'm sitting in my truck waiting for it to run up so I can go to work, Dad, just like you are. All right, well, you have a good day then. Every morning. Again, love him. Great man. But I was 21 at the time. Probably hungover in the truck. Like, I don't need you chirping me this early. Like, give me till 10. Get some breakfast in me. We didn't have energy drinks back then, so Diet Pepsi or whatever I was drinking. Oh, wait, no, we had Red Bull back then, so I probably had a Red Bull in the morning. You know? Tornado DDT. Tornado DDT. So we're going to do the front move. I'm going to see if he does the frog splash. Oh, he's got 2 pins. Oh, I didn't want a single match with a lion tamer, and Eddie's just like, let me show you how it's done. What if we just pinned everyone? Striking moves minus 1,000. All right, I think I got one more in me. We're getting ready to hit 2 hours. Raven. What do you guys think is the ceiling for Raven and WCW? Especially hard to say because he left in 99. But I think, like, I want to sit here and tell you, I don't think Raven could ever be WCW World Champion. But at the same token, I want to say those things. And then my brain jumps in and says, why? Why not? Vince Russo was champion. This is not me shitting on Jeff Jarrett, but Jeff Jarrett was champion. Are we going to sit here and talk to each other and be adults and say that Raven was not as good a promo as Jeff Jarrett or as good in the ring as Jeff Jarrett? Because I'm not going to say that. I think they're equal. Raven might be a little bit better on the mic. And again, that's not me shitting on Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett as heel world champion, actually, I think catches too much shit. I think he was pretty good as a heel champion, as the chosen one. Again, Jarrett's problem, why he's frowned upon as WCW World Champion, there's 2 reasons. He was best friends with Russo at the time. Maybe not best friends, but close friends with Russo. And the main event scene was crowded. And they tried to, as opposed to letting the crowd pick who should enter that scene, they shoved Jarrett into it. And again, he performed well. I'm not shitting on that. But what I'm saying to you, the loyal viewers out there, is if we're going to sit here and say Raven should not have been world champion or U.S. champion was always his ceiling, why? What did he not have that Jeff Jarrett did? Or Vince Russo, because he also won the world title. And we've talked about that before. I think it was last week. So again, I think upper mid card U.S. title is reasonable to say for Raven, but to say like there was never a chance he was going to win the world title in WCW, I think is also unfair. Because what if WCW makes it past March of 01? And let's say the locker room was a completely dysfunctional and Raven left in 99. Because again, Eric Bischoff asked if anybody wanted the release, and the one that did was Raven. So let's say Raven doesn't leave in 99. WCW is much better in 2000 and 2001. They're not going to close out in March. We all know as wrestling fans, at some point, the crowd would have turned Raven babyface, and he would have got a babyface run. And then eventually, because we always said back in my day, Mark Henry will never be world champion. And then he went on to have one of the best, right in the dick, one of the best world championship runs of the last 25 years. Again, if you would have asked me in 2000 during a sexual chocolate Mark Henry match, hey, do you think what do you think Mark Henry will ever be world heavyweight champion? As soon as you said world heavyweight, I would have laughed, peed my pants, and then left the room. He has now hit me in the penis 3 times in the last 40 seconds. So I can't sit here and pretend that I think there never would have been an opportunity for Raven to win the world title in WCW had he stuck around and had WCW stuck around. I think there was a time and a place and an opponent. I do. And actually, now I'm sitting here thinking about it. Do you know who the opponent is at least? DDP. He could have beat DDP for the world title. They had excellent matches in 99. Him, DDP, and Benoit had some great triple threats. I think it was for the U.S. title. So Matthew Elvis Presley says it has to be the Russo era. I mean, that was the one I was leaning into the farthest for sure. But again, let's pretend WCW makes it past 01 and Raven doesn't leave in 99. Again, do you really think at some point fans don't turn Raven babyface and he gets that run? Or let's say for whatever reason he sticks around WCW for 15 years. You don't think he ever gets the thank you world title run before he heads out to greener pastures? I don't know. Do I think he's good enough in the ring and good enough on the mic to be world champion? 100%. Again, and I don't mean to keep doing this. I'm not picking on Jeff Jarrett. But if Jeff Jarrett was world champion for WCW, Raven could have been too. Is all I'm saying. And honestly, I don't think Raven had enough exposure in WCW to become a household name. Eric Bischoff's admitted he didn't get Raven's gimmick. That's why he didn't feature him more. But at some point, that crowded main event with the Outsiders and Hogan and Flair and so on. There's more. I was going to think of on the top of my head. At some point, Sid, Sting, at some point that clears up. There's room for more people. And I think Raven could have been. Raven's whole gimmick doesn't work as a babyface. His dream over suspenders. All right. So let's do this. It's a good point. But when the audience turned Steve Austin babyface in 96, 97, what did he do different? The crowd just turned him. The crowd just said, "We're gonna cheer this guy now. We know we're supposed to boo him. We're gonna cheer him." If again, Raven, what I'm trying to say is Raven is good enough that at some point, I'm not saying it right away, at some point the crowd would have turned him babyface, and you wouldn't have to change anything. He still could have sat in the corner and soaked and did his promo because the grunge and the this what's the word I want to use, the self pity, is that the right word? The self hatred in people my age, teenagers in 01, 02 is still a thing. It hadn't gone away. Maybe he doesn't do grunge. Maybe he does. Maybe he moves on to metal. But again, I think Raven is good enough on the mic and in the ring. At some point, they would have turned him. The fans would have. And I don't think he has to do anything different. I think he'd been fine the way he was. And the best thing about those characters is if the fans turn him, when you're done riding that tidal wave and you want to turn him back, it's not hard because he didn't do anything different to begin with. Again, how do you turn him back heel? Maybe you make him part of the what was the powers that be. Put a suit on him. Cut his hair. It's pretty easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but all the ingredients are there to turn him, if the crowd turns him babyface, to turn him back heel again. And believe me, if they would have turned him babyface, if you're smart, he'd be babyface 8 months, maybe a year, and you're turning him back. Because again, yes, absolutely, he's way better as a heel. Actually, I don't remember a time I ever saw Scott Levy as a babyface. Ever. Scotty Flamingo was a heel. Johnny Polo was a heel. Raven was a heel. When was he ever a babyface? Was he a babyface at TNA? I didn't watch them. He is on my wrestlers I want to meet bucket list for sure. Raven. He seems like a great guy. And I know he's a big comic book guy. I'm not, but I'm a big collector's guy, as you guys can see behind me. And I bet we have a lot in common. I would love to be able to talk to Raven. Maybe we can interview him here on Markout Moments on Legends Wrestling. By the way, we have Dave and I have Tito Santana coming up the last weekend of April. We're interviewing Tito Santana. And you're probably at home asking yourself, well, why is that? Why are you interviewing Tito Santana? Well, it's because on Golden Eras, Dollar Bill Dave's new show, and I'm going to be a part of it now too, is we're talking about the Golden Era of WWF, so the 80s. And we're starting in 84 with Hogan winning the world title. And all the list of AWA guys that went either shortly before or shortly after Hogan jumped. Jesse Ventura, Bobby Heenan, Gene Okerlund, the Killer Bees. I think Jim Brazelmore and Brian Blair. All those guys. But the one person who probably spent more time with Hogan than anyone else is Tito Santana. He was in AWA with Hogan. He came in just before Hogan came in 84. So we're going to talk to Tito Santana about what was Hogan like in the AWA, what was the AWA like, what was the schedule, what were the houses like, what were the payoffs like. Let's jump into WWF 84. What was WWF like before Hogan got there? What's it like after Hogan got there? I have it written up. We have all the notes in. That's going to be an excellent show. I cannot wait for it. Last weekend of April, Golden Eras, we're going to interview Tito Santana. I'm excited for that. Maybe we try to get Raven. He seems like he'd do it. Also, if you're new to the show, which look at the Instagram, there's some new people on the Instagram, and even I believe a guy that's a wrestler. What qualifies you, sir, to interview wrestlers? Well, for one, excuse me. Oh, there's an ice cube in there. I almost died. I went to college for communications. I had to drop out just before my junior year ended because my wife was pregnant with our son. So I had to go get a real job. I was writing for a magazine at the time, a local magazine. And I was majoring in communications, minoring in English because I want to become a journalist. So I took all the courses I could on interviewing, interpersonal skills, nonverbal communications, things like that. I had a radio show here in my hometown for 2.5 years. Interviewed the mayor. I was the first person in the history of the radio station I worked at in my hometown to interview the mayor. Also, somehow, in a NASCAR-friendly town, I was the first person to interview Tony Raines, the NASCAR driver from LaPorte, who was a spotter at the time. And I write and format shows. I write and format interviews. I cannot wait to interview Tito Santana. Those are my qualifications, if you were wondering. I'm not just some random. And listen, there's enough, as we all know, there's enough wrestling shows. There's just random people on there asking softball questions, and they're entertaining for a minute. And I'm not going to sit here and ask like who was Tito dating in '84. I'm not doing that, or what his payoffs were. But I'm not going to hardline you, but I want to know some questions that probably most people aren't going to ask you. All right, well, old Matthew's talking some shit, so let's pull that up. Just so you know, I'm not naming names, Dave, but this is my number 2 show on this channel. I've known Dave for years, and it claims to be the number 1 is top 10. I disagree, although it's a great show, although this channel is. So that would be he's on the top 10 with TNA. Terry Andrew, by the way, great show. They'll be back in May. They're on hiatus right now. You know what's great about our channel, what's frustrating about being a content creator, quote unquote, is our channel, low key, is loaded with, and I'm not just saying this because I'm part of the channel, although maybe I am. Our channel is loaded with some quality broadcasters. Pond Water, when it comes to world class, Mid-South, South wrestling, belts, refereeing. Going back to the 70s, the man's an encyclopedia. And he can articulate his ideas very well. Great guy to have, be a podcast. And he doesn't get excited. You know, he's not excitable, which is good. You need a constant presence. Miss Amy researches very well. And she knows, and this is going to sound like a negative, it's not. Amy has found her niche. She knows what it is, and she sticks to it. And she's good at it. Timmy is knowledgeable guy, more than you would think if you met him in person. I'm joking. Timmy's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. He's a caring guy. He takes care of his people. And he does a lot of research. Like he doesn't go into conversations blind, for sure. Dollar Bill Dave does have an OnlyFans. He probably doesn't want me to say this, so I'm going to pour myself another drink. We're going to do a couple more matches. I'm having too much fun now. He probably doesn't want me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Dollar Bill Dave puts on this persona where he's, you know, I don't even know what the word is. He's bullish. He's brash. He's, you know, ungovernable, all these things, right? The reality is he is all those things. But on top of that, he is just one of the biggest sweethearts I've ever met in my life. He would give you the shirt off his back if you asked him. If you asked him for help, he would. One of the best friends. I'm not saying he's my best friend. I'm saying he's one of the best friends I have. Great guy. And I will tell you, just being completely honest, when we started Filter Free Podcast and God, when was that? 2021, 22, May of 22, I think it was. I had my worries. And it wasn't Timmy because he was coming out to say by the pod. Dave had done some things, but I didn't know what all he had and hadn't done. I didn't know what he was like as a person, although I found that out pretty quick. I didn't know what he was as a personality on air. And I found out very quickly. Dave, if he likes what he's doing and he's motivated, which is every show we do for Drunken Pop and FFP, he researches, he puts everything he's got into it. And like, again, Timmy and Dave were legit two of my best friends. Now, they're both wonderful. And again, all three of us hold a proportional amount of the weight of the show. It's really interesting how that kind of all worked out. But Dave, again, sorry, Dollar Bill, to break the moniker, but Dave is a sweetheart. He really is. So is his wife. His daughters are great too. I taught one of his daughters how to hit opposite field. You're welcome. Who else we got? Terry and Hermas. Terry is just one of the most Southern gentleman stereotypes you'd ever want to meet in your life. He's got the accent. He's just a super generous guy, sweetheart, hilarious to talk to. Hermas, Andrew, he's probably the one guy, if you looked at him and guessed his personality just off looks, you'd be wrong. Because he looks that it's the smile and the dimples that is the deceit. Like, oh, this man is just a big teddy bear. And for the most part, he is. But if you anger him, like he's an animal. And yeah, so I mean, we are blessed with a great group of people here. We all have our different specialties and whatnot, and we just blend together well. I've met a few of you at Top Guy Weekend, I believe. I have not, Matthew, I haven't missed one. I've been at all of them so far. I went to the first, how many was it? 3 at Schaumburg. And then I was in St. Louis last year. I was the producer and the sound guy, so you may not have noticed me, but I was there. May, I do plan on being in Nashville, but that's not a Top Guy Weekend, something else. Doing the same thing as sound engineer and production. So yeah, I mean, I'm still around. I'm still a Top Guy. And again, people can shit on Conrad, which I don't know why they do. I've met Conrad. He's a legit, just one of the nicest people I ever met. We bonded instantly in St. Louis over football. This is a super nice guy. Super supportive, too. If you got a show idea, he's super supportive. But it's hard to think because of him and Eric Bischoff and Tony Schiavone and Bruce Pritchard and Jim Ross that they started this ad-free shows and the Top Guys and everything else. And because of that network, I now know Pondwater Dave and Miss Amy and Dollar Bill Dave and Timmy and Andrew and Terry. And you know, God bless him, Josh Odom. I miss that dude to death to this day. All of those people I met because of a podcast network, which we're hoping the reason why we started our podcast network, Archive Moments, is the same reason. We want to help build and establish those relationships. Now, we're not to the level that ad-free shows now Ring Classics is, of course, but we hope to be there one day and to do, you know, FFP. I don't know if people remember when we were at Filter Free Podcast, we did 2 live events a year for like 2 years. We did St. Louis. We did Nashville. We did Schaumburg twice. The Sweet Life. And we haven't done it in a while. We've been talking about it. We haven't really had the opportunity to. We're talking about it now. I don't think we're completely done with that idea of doing live events. I just don't think we've had a good opportunity to do it. But we're, I think we're this network and the people involved, and that includes you guys as watchers, viewers, or listeners, however you consume us. We're one funny moment, one right episode that is hits on all cylinders for some reason, one right topic, something. We're one moment away, in my opinion, with the talent we have, from catching fire. And again, we don't spend money on marketing or bots or shit. Like, this is organic. What we have 10,000 subscribers. We've earned every one of them. So it is what I hope we get there, and I hope all you guys are along for the ride. And thank you for what you've done for us so far. Oh, Matthew's going to Nashville. That's good. I'll be there. Gotta be the sound guy. Going back to my radio show days. And that was a funny moment, though. They kicked us before St. Louis. They asked me, like, "Hey, do you know how to run a soundboard?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was. I literally got paid to do that. It was my job." So I had my radio show pre-recorded nightly during the week, Monday through Friday. I was on 7 to midnight, pre-recorded. And then Saturday morning, I was on from 7 to 11 live in the studio. So I would come in Monday morning I was working midnights at the time at How Met, my last job. I'd come in at, like, I don't know, 6, 7 in the morning. So just after the morning show. I'm sorry, the morning news. And I would sit and I would record all my shows for the week. Which ironically, so this is fun. Before I start the next match, this is fun. So when I would do those shows, every one of my shows for the week had a theme. So I would do, like, top 10 movies of all time during this day that was released on this day. Top 10. I was doing what would become Florida Man news stories in 2014 on the radio. Not saying I'm the pioneer, but I'm the pioneer. But I would also, when I wasn't doing shows, I would come in and I would run the soundboard for NASCAR races when they were on the radio. So I would have to cut to local ads. I would have to squeeze in the national ads. I'd have to do top of the hour station plug, stuff like that. So I literally did this for a job. So, like, hey, can you run a soundboard? I'm like, yeah, real easy. If you give me a show rundown, I can do it blindfolded. And I did. I had a lot of fun. It was like sitting in the captain's seat again. Who we got next? Goldberg? That Van Hammer? Yuck. So here's what I understand. Why is Van Hammer dressed like that and not in the flock? Do you mean you came across this show or just us in general? So again, I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. I've had a video game show idea forever, and wrestling video game show. And actually, this is the second incarnation of this one. There was a show I pitched 4 years ago. Like, I still have the cover art for it. It was called D-Pad Debonaires. And it was the cover of Super Brawl for SNES. But instead of the wrestlers, it was me, Mike Kolb, and Derek Zoo, the comedian. And for whatever reason, I don't remember why, we never started. Like, we all three agreed to do it, and then just never started. And then me and Cole were going to do something. And actually, now that I think about it, I think the first show we were going to do was Revenge. This is all coming back to me now. This is years ago. And then it just kind of died. And AFS had a video game show. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. And they would have like the producers and stuff of the game, which, listen, good for them, but it had its moments where it was cool. Like, there's some things that you hear, like the making of your favorite video game, like, oh, I didn't know that, from like a producer's perspective, right? But people that watch video game show like this, they're not there for that. Like, you can go on Wikipedia and do that. They're here to watch the gameplay and just hang out and kind of be a part of the game, right? So on the whatever show that was, I cannot remember, on AFS, I was on the first episode as a guest. Just as and not like, hey, they didn't ask me like, hey, would you be on the show? They asked for volunteers. And I think they asked for pictures of our wrestling video game collection, and I sent them mine, which is actually bigger now than one is back then. And I was on the first episode. And again, like, I left the show and it was okay. I didn't hate it. But I was like, man, there's just something. There's something here, but something's missing. I don't know what it is. And I think what it was, again, I'm not shitting on game designers or game producers or whatever. They're way smarter than I'll ever be. But again, to be fair, unless it's a movie documentary or something, like, most people don't come to a YouTube show for that. Am I speaking out of school? I don't think I am. They just want to be a part of the gameplay. They want to have a chat open. They want to be a part of the fun, right? My opinion. So ever since that show, I wanted to do a video game wrestling show. And I've always been one that I think having a solo podcast or YouTube show is a mistake. But while I was waiting to launch this show, this one specifically, I'm sitting here going, who am I going to get? Who's going to host it with me? Timmy doesn't play video games. Neither Dave plays video games. Amy doesn't play video games. Who am I going to get? And it came to, we had a meeting about it, Mark Out Moments, because I, did my idea. And they asked me, because they wanted to do it too, because again, now you're with video games, we're offering between old wrestling and video games and pop culture and all that stuff, we're offering a pretty wide range of topics that we cover here on the network, right? It was broadening the horizon. Do you think you can do it solo? I said, well, I had a radio show for 2.5 years that I had to talk to myself for several hours a day. And, I've done stand-up a few times. Open mics. Let me be clear. I've never headlined anything. I'm not trying to be Corey Ryan Forrester. I've done a couple open mics before, but I've never gotten booed. Right? I think, in my opinion, I have my own. I got some laughs, didn't get booed. Didn't get shit thrown at me. And I had this idea, like, what if I just played the game and we just sat here and just, like, me and the viewers just sat here and shot the shit. And just talked about the old times. And that's what this show has ever been. And that's what it will always be. I don't plan on getting guests unless they just pop up randomly. Like, the only guest I had that I was planning on was Efren. But for the most part, this is going to be the show. This is all I want it to be. Yeah, so without getting into too much detail, Matt, reading your comments here. And by the way, thank you for those words. I have a live show concept idea. That's a terrible sentence. Let me rephrase that. I have a live show concept for this. I have a game picked out. I have what I want to do mapped out. That show will have guests if I can have my way. I was hoping that I would get to unveil it in Nashville. I'm not sure that's the case. I'm hoping that I haven't been told no yet. But if they say yes, between now and then, I will just tell you, make sure you go to Nashville and stay tuned. I have a show written up already. I wrote it last fall. Ready to go. I think I've run my map. Oh, is it Hanzo Man time? It felt like it took us 4 hours to get there with Jericho. I get there in 15 minutes with Eddie. So it's a wrestling video game, obviously. It will have 2 guests, and there will be a tournament involved as well. That is all I'm going to say about it. But I haven't pitched the idea yet to the people that can say yes or no. I hope to soon. So just stay tuned. Let's see if we can win. I think us winning the TV title with Eddie is a great way for us to sign off for the night. So let's hope 2.5 hours in, 11:30 Eastern time, we can win the TV title with Eddie. I don't think again we kind of fell into it. I do need to play Retromania. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I don't know, like we mentioned I mentioned the live event thing we used to do back in the day. We did St. Louis, the Sweet Life, the Royal Rumble 23, I think it was. We did SummerSlam 23. Whatever one Jarrett returned to, it was that one. We've done 2 all outs in Schaumburg or all ins or whichever ones they were. We kind of did one in Jacksonville, but I wasn't there. But like we love doing the live events. St. Louis was the only like live event we did. We had a whole day. So I remember I just saw the picture of this on my phone. That's why I was reminded of it. Friday night, it was us against Boots to Face in a trivia contest. So it was myself, Dave, Timmy, and Angel against Rucker, Marty, and oh man, I feel terrible because the other guy was awesome and I can't remember his name. And then we played beer pong Saturday morning. Well, actually, I'm leaving the key part out. Friday night, I got the shit chopped out of me by my Moonshine Mantel, which was planned. And then Saturday, we had brunch at a bar down the street from the hotel. It was us. So me, Timmy, Dave, and Angel, who was on the show at the time, with Miranda Gordy, Brandon Toll, the referee, Moonshine Mantel, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. It might have just been them 3. And we had brunch, and it was awesome. They could not have been nicer people. Great people. And then we went to the Royal Rumble night, the TWA Dome, and had a suite with Moonshine Mantel and Miranda Gordy and Brandon Toll. And just before it's been 3 years, so I can say this part now. As we're getting ready to go to the arena, Miranda calls us and she goes, "Hey, I hate to do this. I can't be a part of the Sweet Life." And we're like, well, that sucks. Why? And here, listen, we hadn't spent enough money for us to be pissed off if she no-called, no-showed, to be honest with you. Like, it just was what it was. But she was great. And, you know, we interviewed her. We did interviews with her. We did interviews with Moonshine. And we did interviews with Brandon Toll. They were all great. And, but I mean, at this point, I'm not going to sit here and like be oblivious, say we're friends. You know what I mean? But we were, I mean, we got along. We were acquaintances, all the whole group, right? She's like, I can't make it. And we're like, is everything okay? Like, is everything fine? She goes, oh yeah, everything's fine. She goes, I got the call. I'm gonna be one of the extras in the Rumble. That's fucking awesome. Like, please go do that. And she's like, well, you can't tell anyone. I'm like, well, luckily for you, we don't know anyone. But they were great. They were great. We went back at the hotel that night. It was, we had so much fun. And we were talking about this a week or two ago, probably. Like, we miss doing those. And, you know, without getting too in the weeds on politics or anything like this, with the country and the economy and everything, it's kind of murky right now with all the shit going on. So I probably safe to say it's not going to happen this year. But I mean, I don't think the book is closed on Drunken Pop or Markout Moments doing a live event sometime in the near future. Year and a half, maybe even 2 years. I think we'll do one. We just won the television title with Eddie Guerrero. Another fun fact, we were in Nashville with AFS, SummerSlam in Nissan Stadium. We actually had a weekend plan. We were going to do karaoke at Margaritaville with the Rock and Roll Express. I swear to God, we had that booked. The Rock and Roll Express and Kerry Morton and Jimmy Hart at Margaritaville. And it was going to cost us an ass ton of money to do that. But we had everything booked. We just hadn't paid for it yet. And then at the last moment, AFS released their schedule, and the roast of Ric Flair was that night. And guess what we didn't do? We didn't have karaoke. We went to the roast of Ric Flair. So let's see what happens when you win the television title over Hanzo freaking Man. Congratulations. Here is your belt. Is there sound? I mean, I know there's just sound, but what does it sound like? It's like a generic Fox television intro song. So let's see. Oh, total score. So look, 9 matches you have to win. What are we doing? Laparca, Reese, Benoit, Saturn. So what's funny is I remember with Reese, I was like, we're going to be done after this one. And that was second. Benoit, Saturn, Raven, Bulldog, Psychosis, Van Hammer, and Hanzo Man. 56,000 points. And now here's the credits. So I think next week we should go after the U.S. title. Who is the U.S. champion? I need to get a Rumble pack. Goldberg. Oof. Who are we going to go after and beat Goldberg with? Starrcade sound. I can't tell you how much it pisses me off. That sign says WCW Starrcade AKI. I want to throw up. U.S. Championship. Let's see who's in play. I would say Scott Steiner and Kurt Hennig are in play. They're in play. Conan probably in play. Raven's in play. And he's got the DDT. I'm just messing with you. Ooh. I think I'm going to say Piper for the World Heavyweight title. DDP, I would say, is in play. Bret Hart's in play. Benoit is in play. None of those people. No. Dean, Mysterio. Jericho, unfortunately, has the Lion Tamer as a finisher, and you can't beat anyone with that shit. Ultimo Dragon. I would love to win the US title with Ultimo Dragon. Why is that his taunt? Val Venus? And that's it. So next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, because I'm on midnights, we're going to be back, and we're going to fight for the... Actually, you know what? Let's do this. It's our last night, right? I think we go for the world title. I think we go for the world title. I think Roddy Piper chases down Hogan, which is what should have happened at Super Brawl 7. Piper should have beat Hogan. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go for the world title next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be here. We're going for the WCW world title. 2 hours and 41 minutes tonight. We had steady, high viewership tonight. I want to thank everyone, new and old, that is joining the show for the first time. I've been here for a while. Like Darren Stala, like Matthew Evans Presley. Thank you guys for joining us so much. We'll be back next Friday, 8 p.m. for WCW nWo Revenge, our final week. And remember, the week after that, WWF in your house for Sega Saturn. How cool is that? Also, if you want to be a nerd, the Nitro book by Guy Evans. Buy it. I don't know what holiday's coming up, but buy it for that one. In the meantime, I'm TJ Stevens. This is Bash on the Buttons. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week right here on Mark Out Moments.